Altair was born on the 11th of January 1165 to assassin parents, a Christian mother, Maud, and a Muslim father, Umar ibn Lahad. While Maud died in childbirth, Umar was executed by the Saracens during the siege of Masyaf in 1176, in retribution for him killing a Saracen nobleman. Altair frantically called out to his father before the execution, but was prevented from seeing his father's death by Ahmad Sufyan, the assassin who had revealed Umar's name to the Saracens under torture. Crushed by guilt over Umar's death, Ahmad later infiltrated Altair's quarters, apologised for his weakness, and unalived himself with a dagger. Altair ran to Al-Mualim's quarters with haste, informing him of what had occurred. Al-Mualim, the mentor of the assassins, told Altair not to disclose anything about the incident to anyone, not even to Ahmad's son, Abbas, who would be shamed by the truth of his father's death. Altair considered Al-Mualim as more of a father figure than his own biological father, though he was aware that Al-Mualim's love was weak and dishonest, and agreed to do as the mentor commanded. Altair and Abbas joined the order as novices soon after, growing up together and becoming good friends, always at each other's side. One day, after noticing Abbas's continued grief over his father's death, Altair told him the truth in an effort to console him. Upon hearing it, Abbas turned over in his bed, not saying a word. The following day, the two didn't speak to each other until Abbas asked their combat instructor Labib if they could fight with real swords instead of the wooden practice ones. It was then that Abbas revealed his hatred for Altair, believing he had lied about Ahmad before attacking him in a rage. As the two grappled, Abbas held his knife to Altair's throat and yelled that Altair had lied about Abbas's father to shame him. The commotion caught the attention of the other assassins, the villagers, and even Al-Mualim himself. Trying to quell Abbas's anger, Altair falsely admitted that he had lied, and the two were taken to Masyaf's dungeon. There, they spent a month in confinement before resuming their training. With his crimes deemed more severe, Abbas was forced by Al-Mualim to spend an extra year in training, whilst Altair graduated to the rank of assassin. In 1189, Masyaf was attacked and overrun by Templars, aided by their double agent, Haras. Riding his horse into the village and rescuing the fellow assassin Faisal, Altair led the injured man to a bench before meeting with Abbas. Abbas claimed that the assassins had to fall back and could do nothing for Al-Mualim, who was detained in the fortress along with several other assassin hostages. Altair, however, gave Abbas orders to flank the Templars and lead them into the canyon, while Altair himself rescued Al-Mualim. Altair made his way to the fortress, killing Templar soldiers and rescuing villagers along the way. Upon arriving at the fortress's gates, Altair was greeted by Haras. Taunting the assassin, Haras closed the gates behind him and went to execute the captured assassins inside the courtyard with a crossbow. Locked out, Altair climbed some scaffolding and reached the top of the fortress walls. From there he ran along the battlements, jumped onto the tiled roof of a balcony and assassinated Haras from above. With his dying words, Haras expressed his disillusion with the creed, believing that the assassins put too much faith in humanity. Altair tried to convince him otherwise, but failed as Haras passed away, his beliefs unchanged. Having successfully rescued Al-Mualim, Altair earned his respect and joined him for a walk, during which the mentor expressed the pride he felt for Altair's actions and how much the assassin resembled his late father. When asked if he regretted his life as an assassin, Altair claimed that he could not regret the only life he had ever known, but Al-Mualim advised that he may find a way to do so in time, and that it would be up to him to choose his preferred path then. After repelling the remaining Templars in Masyaf, Altair was elevated to the rank of Master Assassin, becoming the youngest member of the order to attain such a position. Upon hearing this, Abbas spat at Altair's feet, whereas Altair only sneered back in his first true display of arrogance. In 1190, while returning from a journey, Altair discovered that a village near the citadel of Alep was under attack. He came across an assassin guard who told him that Templars were responsible for the assault and gave Altair a sword with which to avenge their comrades. Fending off many Templars along the way, Altair came across an enemy archer who revealed the Templars' plans. They were ordered to attack the village by the Templar leader, Lord Basilisk, in order to gain valuable information possessed by a member of the Brotherhood. Altair dispatched a Templar and continued on, assassinating an enemy captain before meeting with Al-Mualim. Altair was then tasked with retrieving a powerful artifact called the Chalice that could bolster the power of whatever faction held it. His mission clear, he immediately left for the city of Damascus. In Damascus, Altair located a Rafiq posing as a merchant and bluntly said the assassin's password in public. Leading Altair to a secluded area, the Rafiq admonished him for his indiscretion, then tasked him with taking the life of an enemy to prove himself. Once the job was complete, he would give Altair the information he sought. Altair did as he was asked and assassinated the target with his hidden blade. Altair then mentioned his search for the Chalice to the Rafiq and was directed to Tamir, a merchant whose close association with the Templars made him a suitable target for interrogation. However, because Tamir's residence was heavily guarded, the Rafiq suggested Altair start with a man named Misbah. Once Altair had left and located Misbah, he interrogated the man, but a nearby city guard noticed and intervened. As Misbah fled the scene, Altair took down the guards and chased him onto the roof of a building, where a plank collapsed beneath Misbah's feet and he was left hanging from a rope. Altair requested information in return for safety, and Misbah reluctantly accepted. After telling Altair about a shipment of oil barrels stored atop Tamir's home, he requested help, but Altair left him hanging. Altair made his way to Tamir's house and used some nearby torches to set the oil barrels and house on fire, flushing the merchant out. Grieving over the loss of his belongings, Tamir told Altair that the Chalice was located in a desert temple that could only be accessed via the use of 3 keys. He then told the assassin of a dancer named Fajira, who held one of the 3. With the information he sought acquired, Altair ended Tamir's life. After he left the bureau, Altair ventured to the circus where Fajira performed and confronted her. She refused to cooperate and called one of her circus friends, a brute named Badir. Altair fought Badir off, but Fajira fled and the tent began to cave in. Managing to escape, Altair chased Fajira across the city, dodging civilians and guards alike. However, the assassin lost her trail as a bridge collapsed, leaving him behind. On spotting her again by a well, Altair confronted Fajira, who immediately gave him the key. When Altair expressed confusion at her actions, Fajira explained that she had actually been testing him and that through her cards she had foreseen his arrival and prepared herself to aid him. In return for her assistance, she requested Altair dispose of a man named Alat, who was at a bathhouse not far away. Venturing through old sewer tunnels, Altair made his way into the bathhouse. Although Alat let out a cry for help, he was too late to save himself, as Altair plunged his blade into the man and escaped. In tanks, Fajir told Altair of another key holder in Tyre. Arriving in Tyre and recollecting on past events, Altair met up with a man named Hamid, who informed him that Roland Napul had confined the holder of the second key inside his hospital. With this information, the assassin made his way through old passageways inside a sewer, which were heavily patrolled by Templar guards. Altair soon found Roland interrogating the key holder and promptly assassinated him. However, the keyholder was convinced that Altair himself was a Templar and asked the assassin for proof that suggested otherwise. Altair believed he had none until the man asked to see his left hand. With this, the keyholder knew that Altair was one of the assassins, due to his missing ring finger. After giving him the key, the man bid Altair farewell and told him that the next key was in Jerusalem with Lord Basilisk himself. After arriving in Jerusalem, Altair met up with the Rafiq Kadar, asking him where Lord Basilisk could be found. Kadar remarked that the man's fierceness and feral bravado in battle had earned him the trust of the king, meaning Basilisk was frequently idling in the king's audience. As the assassin pondered how to get closer to his target, Kadar informed him of an upcoming party hosted by the king himself, to which some citizens would receive invitations. Kadar then told Altair of the city gardens in Jerusalem, where he could eavesdrop on citizens to learn of the party's location. In the gardens, Altair learned that a man named Eamon had received an invitation to the party. Confronting Eamon, he drew the location of the event out of the man, despite his resistance. Altair then left for the party and travelled through a secret passage, gaining entry inside, where he encountered Basilisk. Battling with the Templar leader, Altair stole the key and fled. When Altair returned to Jerusalem, he found the keeper being attacked by Templar agents who stole a map to the desert temple which held the Chalice. The keeper charged him with infiltrating the Templar's tower base to retrieve it. Altair arrived at the tower and navigated his way to its master, an assassin-like figure who was actually a high-ranking Templar. The master tried to convince him to join the Templar Order, but Altair refused, killed the master, and took the map to the Temple of Sand. Arriving at the temple, Altair searched the upper areas and made his way to the Chalice's antechamber, dispatching guards as he did so. He soon found the shrine of the Chalice, wrought in gold, at the centre of a stone pillar accessible by 4 bridges. He made his way to the shrine before coming face to face with Basilisk, who explained the Chalice's true nature. She was no artifact, but a woman. As Altair defeated Basilisk's guards, the shrine opened, creating an exit. Jumping down, Altair landed in rubble and found the temple beginning to collapse around him. He fled an approaching sandstorm and avoided obstacles formed by falling debris to escape the area. Upon reaching safety, he recalled that Basilisk had mentioned business he had in the city of Tyre and, wasting no time, quickly made his way back to the city. Upon arriving in Tyre once more, Altair met with Hamid and told the keeper he was searching for Basilisk. Hamid said that while the assassins once had 2 agents with access to the fortress, they had been kidnapped some time ago. He suggested to Altair that he navigate through a series of obstacles above deadly waters, which would eventually lead him to them. Altair made his way across the beams and platforms, avoiding the water. He soon discovered one of Hamid's missing men trapped in a cage and released him. The agent said that his brother, held captive on the other side of the fort, would be able to help him access the Templar's hold. Navigating another complex route, Altair freed the second agent, who directed him to the gate that would grant him entry to the hold. Traversing the roofs of the buildings within the fortress, Altair found and duelled Basilisk. Outmatched, the Templar fled, forcing Altair to give chase, engage, and defeat him once again. In return for his life, Basilisk gave Altair 2 pieces of information: the location of the Chalice at the villa of Don Caravaggio in Jerusalem, and the revelation of a Templar plot to end the costly siege in Acre by poisoning the city's water supply. Altair spared Basilisk, but burnt the Templar's ships to ensure that he would not be able to leave Tyre. Altair hurried to Acre and fought his way through the burning city, dodging falling debris and destroying Templar siege equipment. As he reached the Templar camp, he took on the disguise of a soldier, then a scholar, to access restricted areas. Setting fires, releasing prisoners, and destroying weaponry as he went, he came upon the Templar commander giving orders to his men. Beckoned to bless him and the operation, Altair tried to attack, but the commander saw through his disguise and duelled him. Altair defeated the commander and escaped the camp by launching himself over the barricades with a catapult. Upon arriving in Jerusalem and seeking out Caravaggio's villa, Altair found Templars escorting the Chalice through the streets and recognised her as a woman named Ada. He then tailed the group before confronting her escorts and killing them by opening a large sewer grate nearby, pelting them with debris. Adha and Altair navigated the sewers together, and she told him about the betrayal of Harash, Al-Mualim's second-in-command. Doubtful of her claim, Altair said he could not accuse Harash without proof of the man's crimes, and asked Adha to flee the Holy Land with him. Claiming she could not accompany Altair while Harash lived, she gave the assassin a special sword and said that once the deed was done, she would run away with him. Travelling to Aleppo, Altair stealthily infiltrated the city in search of Harash. Eliminating the guards who noticed him and stealing a disguise to sneak past others, he found Harash consorting with a Templar captain. The captain claimed that the Chalice had been discovered in Tyre, hidden on a ship, and they suspected she was waiting for Altair. The captain departed, and Altair, angered by Harash's betrayal, killed him in a long duel. When Altair returned to Tyre, he discovered that a Templar army stood between him and Basilisk. Despite their numbers, Altair managed to battle his way through to the docks and spotted Adha being escorted onto a Templar ship. Boarding a nearby vessel to reach her, Altair was confronted by Basilisk, who challenged him to a fight. Altair accepted and eventually overpowered the Templar leader, killing him. However, a ship was set ablaze and forced between Basilisk's ship and the one bearing Adha, forcing Altair to jump overboard. Reaching the safety of the docks, he watched the remaining ship sail away from the harbour, swearing he would find Adha and rescue her. It would be months before he found her again, and by then he was too late to save her and only recovered her body. In an emotional rage, he hunted down and killed everyone responsible for her death, though it was an empty act that brought him no joy. If you enjoyed the video, want to see more and help support the channel, you can hit the join button to find out more on how to do it. Your support helps the channel grow and is always greatly appreciated.